afternoon, Facebook and YouTube friends. About 10 minutes to 4 here in Tucson. I've got another recipe that I'm going to try that I saw online that sounded interesting. You know, every once in a while, you gotta have just a good hamburger. And there has to be something different to do with it than just fry up some hamburger and put it in between a bun. So I found a recipe online. It's called Oklahoma fried onion burgers. So we're going to give that a try today. And I love hamburgers. I love onions on my hamburger. So we're going to give it a try. Let me show you the ingredients that we're going to be using. Okay, so for the Oklahoma fried onion burgers, we're going to need cheese. I am going to use just American processed cheese, not the imitation, actual pasteurized cheese, butter, some oil, of course a large onion, and a hamburger. The one they recommended was 85% lean, 15% fat. You can go higher if you want. And then of course all the normal condiments that usually go with a hamburger, mayonnaise, mustard, pickles, whatever else that you like on your hamburger, and of course hamburger buns. So I'm going to get this process started and we'll see how it goes. Okay, first the onion. The directions say that it should be peeled, quartered, and then sliced. So we're going to go ahead and, ooh, it smells like a strong one. And this could be any onion, yellow, white. Don't need anything fancy, like a Vidalia or a red onion. Just going to cut off this bad spot here. There's that one. And get rid of this one on this side. And there we go. Alright, let me toss this in the trash. Peeled, halved, and sorry, not quartered, just thinly sliced. You could probably use a mandolin for this if you don't want to use a knife, but I just don't feel like pulling the mandolin out. Plus, it's not really important to keep the same amount of... I'd say I'm cutting these in about 1/8 of an inch, so pretty thin. Okay, there's that one. I read something on the internet the other day. You know, when I'm slicing onions, and I'm not going to be able to get in the camera the way it's angled. My eyes don't ever water when I'm slicing onions, and never really thought about it, but I saw an article on the internet the other day. I wear contacts, and according to this article, people who wear contacts the contacts protect them from their eyes burning while you're slicing onions. So I thought that was interesting. That explains why my eyes never water when I slice up onions. Okay, so we are going to put the onion slices into a colander. Okay. I'm just going to try to separate as many as I can. Okay. All right. And now they say to cover these, actually, I'm going to put these in a, I'm going to go ahead and put these in a bowl first. And it says to sprinkle a teaspoon of salt on these. And what we're going to do is try to dry some of the water out of the onion so that when we put them in the pan to fry, they'll fry up good and crispy. So I'm going to give these a quick toss. Alrighty. Now I'm going to dump them into the colander. And set them in the bowl. And what we're going to do is let these sit We're going to let these sit for 30 minutes. And let's see what it says here. I'll include this recipe in the comments below. Set for 30 minutes, tossing occasionally. And we're going to let that try to draw out some of the water of the onions. So I'll be back in 30 minutes. Alrighty, so it's been a half an hour. And I went ahead and rinsed these onions to get some of the extra salt off of them. Try to reduce the salt intake as much as possible. So let me adjust the camera back down. So now the recipe says to put these onions inside of a clean dish towel, which I'm going to do. There we go. Quite a bit of water did come out of those. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but and then we're going to wrap this up. And it says to squeeze the water that comes out of them. Wow. Whew. Didn't know I was going to get a workout. I am quite amazed at the amount of water that's coming out of these things. Alright. Alrighty, next. Squeeze out as much liquid as you can from these onions. Still squeezing, and water's still coming. Wow. That's about all I could do. Next time I'll have to hire somebody strong hands to come over and do this. Alrighty, let's see what we've got here. Alright, so they are looking pretty dry. So now it's telling me divide the onions into 4 separate mounds on a rimmed baking sheet. One, two, three, four. Trying to keep them separate as much as possible. Smash them down a bit. Try to use up all this onion after all that hard work. Okay. Next, form the beef into 4 lightly packed balls. So it calls for 1 pound of beef. I've got 2 pounds here. And again, this is 85% lean, 15% fat. So I'm going to basically make 4 patties. One, two, three, four, and it says place the beef balls on top of the onion mounds and flatten. So I guess I was supposed to leave these in a round. So let me remake them into a round. There's one burger there. One burger there. One there. See, you got to follow those directions. And one there. Flatten the beef firmly using your palm so the onion adheres to the beef. Okay. The patty should measure approximately 4 inches in diameter. I've got that. And it says to generously season with salt and pepper. I've got to open up a salt here. Again, we already had some salt on the onion, so I am going to try not to go too heavy with the salt here. Salt. And pepper. All right, I think that's pretty generous. So now we're just going to have to get the skillet out so we can start frying these. All right, so we've got the big skillet out. This is the 12-inch cast iron skillet. I really suggest you invest in some cast iron skillets. They distribute the heat the best, and once they get hot, they're hot. And I'm going to center that on the burner. This says we're going to cook these on medium heat. So I'm going to set it to medium, and to start with. And we need to melt a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of oil put in there. You get a tablespoon of butter here. Tablespoon of butter. And a tablespoon of oil. It calls for vegetable. I'm using canola. There we go. Alrighty. Put the butter back in the fridge. Go ahead and bring the hamburger patties over here. I'm going to go ahead and get my nice heavy duty stainless steel spatula. I've never fried hamburgers in butter or oil before. I've always just put the hamburger meat in the pan and let the fat render from the hamburger and use that. So, but this will probably help to crisp and brown up the onions. Alright, so we're going to wait for this to come up to heat. Look at the burgers. Look at the onions on the bottom. It looks pretty good to me. So once the pan comes up to heat, we'll get busy frying these. We're going to put them in the pan, onions side down first, and cook them the majority of the time with the onions down, so the onions can get good and crispy. Alrighty. Hello? 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 Oh, there you are. Alright, we're going to put the burgers in the pan now, and I'm going to stand back up. Alright. So I'm going to slide the spatula very carefully underneath these so I don't lose too many onions. 1, 2. I'll go ahead and slide that under there. 3. 4. Okay, so there they are in the pan. Onions on the bottom. We're just going to cook them. This says for about it says about 6 to 8 minutes. We'll see. And then we'll flip them over and go from there. While we're waiting on these to cook, I'm going to go ahead and pull out all of the other condiments that you would put on a burger. Okay, so we got the cheese ready to go, ketchup, mayonnaise, some mustard, and hiding behind here are the hamburger style dill pickles, hamburger chips. So just looking at the pickles, it reminded me that, hold on. My dear mother, whenever we would go out to eat and she ordered a hamburger, especially if it was McDonald's, she liked a Big Mac with nothing on it but pickles and onions. So occasionally, when I eat at McDonald's, which isn't too often, I will order a Big Mac with pickles and onions only. And surprisingly, it's very good. That's all that she pretty much liked on her hamburgers. And the only place that she would eat a hot dog at, if she couldn't cook it at home, and she liked them grilled in the oven until they were almost blackened. But every time we would go to Costco together as a family, she enjoyed the $1.50 hot dog and soda at Costco, and she'd always get one there and enjoy it. She'd put on the onions, and I don't know if she put anything else on it. She was a little bit odd that she liked mayonnaise when she made hot dogs at home. She put mayonnaise on her hot dog. I haven't tried that yet, but doesn't sound like it would be too bad. All right, I'm just waiting on these burgers to cook. Okay, I can see at the bottom the onions are starting to brown and get crispy. So we're getting ready to flip these over. Let me get that out of the steam for you. And we'll finish cooking them on the other side. So let me set the camera back over here and adjust it down. Alrighty. That one lost its onions. Let's see if I can get some of those onions back up on top of the burger. There we go. Now the temperature increase to the heat to high and finish frying them. So I turned it up to about number 8. You still with me? Haha. I like to press my burgers down a bit, get rid of some of the fat. Not too much though, because you don't want a dry hamburger. My. If you could smell the onions, it smells like an old-fashioned diner, is what it smells like. Where you used to go in, like an old, I'm going to date myself now, an old Woolworths or Kresge's. They had diners, and you could order grilled cheeses or hamburgers and soups, and that's what it smells like. It smells like a diner that's cooking onions on the grill. So, all right, I shall be back when these are done. Alrighty, I put a cover on them so they would cook hopefully a little bit more. And I'm going to check their temperatures. We are good. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. And I'm going to put cheese on them. Cheese wants to fight. There we go. I didn't think, but I could have cooked some bacon to go on these. Boy, am I ever going to have a messy pan to clean up. But it'll be worth it. My brother's coming over to share the dinner. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on. Let that cheese melt a bit. Let me get you a close-up of these. I'd say those look pretty good. We're going to wait for the cheese to melt. And then I've got my plate and everything all set up ready to go to build my burger. I'm going to put on some fries because what's a good hamburger without some good French fries? I really didn't want to turn the vat on tonight, but I did. I try not to use it as much as possible. So we're going to fry up some fries and have some good hamburgers for dinner. All right, if I can remember, I'll come back and show you my burger once it's built. Alrighty, there is my burger built. Mayo, dab of ketchup, dab of mustard, pickle, cheese, onions, and beef. And the fries are cooking right now. And I'm just waiting on my brother to come over. And then we're going to feast. Alright, so I'm going to get busy uploading this video. And you get somewhere where there's some better light. And I will include the recipe in the Show More tab down below. And please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Or if you've tried this recipe, make a comment below. Tell me if you liked it or not. And also, please subscribe. That way you'll be updated anytime I post a new video. You don't have to watch the videos. I would prefer that you do, but you don't have to. And if you're on the Facebook side, please like the video. So I can get some more likes, some more thumbs up, and get some more subscribers. Alrighty guys, have a good evening. Remember, life is beautiful. Don't forget to go out and vote. Alrighty, bye-bye.